And here we have a bike that Jeff's working on right now for a chap called William. And the frame is a Z650 Kawasaki from the late 70s. And he's making it into a cafe racer with some modern running gear. So it's been a lot of work to fit these Kawasaki ZXR6 yokes to this old frame. Still not quite finished yet. And at the back we've got another modern ZXR6 wheel. Obviously it's a lot wider than a standard old-fashioned Z650 back end. So to fit it on the bike, it's got a Zephyr, I think it's a Zephyr 750 swing arm. The shocks, just all shocks, which are used for setting up purposes. And again, to fit this took quite a lot of work. At the front of the swing arm, this swing arm's been narrowed by about, what, 20 mil? 20 mil? 20-ish, yeah.
10 mil either side.
Yeah, and then
10 mil either side.
Okay, and then the bearings inside have been pushed further in, which luckily you could do.
Luckily,
you could do,
Japanese
and then you've got
company had bored them in further than they needed to go.
Yeah, and then these spaces are just there to finish off the job, I guess.
To pack the original bush,
yeah,
the hardened steel bush, to take it to the 16 mil
spindle,
pin,
yeah,
the original Z650 pin.
Because obviously the Zephyr pin would have been a lot
20 mil.
20 mil, so you've got to take up that 4 mil difference, yeah.
Which is the two top hat spaces that
here. Yeah, so they're two top hat spaces. Yeah.
Right.
And at the back, there's been a lot of work with the wheel spindle, because obviously there's quite a lot of differences here with the Zephyr swing arm on the Z650 frame and a ZXR6 wheel. The caliper mount has been made too. That's had to be replaced. I'll just zoom in on that. Zoom, zoom, zoom. And it's just waiting for you to make a torque arm, because the first one you made, or the first bracket you made, had an issue with the clearance of the shock, I believe.
The shock absorber.
Yeah. And then if I pick the camera up, we can go up a little bit. And one issue you have with fitting a wider swing arm is that the top shocks don't actually align anymore. So as you see, there's quite a difference there.
They virtually give or take a couple of mil there in the ballpark.
Yeah. So to solve that issue,
you can actually, the ZXR 1100 has a sleeve nut, which goes inside the eyelet of the shock absorber.
So you're going to get a nut which is shouldered, which is screwed on, and that would give you the
very similar to some like wheel spindle nuts that have a sleeve on them.
And then you'll put a spacer behind there to
small spacer to get the right alignment.
Yeah. So when folks say, "Oh yeah, just stick a modern wheel on an old bike," it's not that easy. Okay, so this is his forks. These
are his forks.
Yeah.
They actually, if you can shorten the rebound spring, and you can drop the fork stanchions down a couple of inches.
Doesn't sound too...
Unfortunately, all you're doing with that is you're moving your top bush into a very dangerous point where you're going to start getting serious fork flex. Not something I would advise.
Nor me. I mean, his other options are...
His options are to extend the damper rods and the fittings and make two screw-in slugs, basically. We've started to...
Just like they used to do back in the 70s with choppers.
They're going to be about 2.5 inches long, and they'll be chopped and threaded in an internal thread. They'll screw in, which the great thing about it is having clip-ons on it, and obviously the join
it'll hide with the clip-ons.
Will actually increase the strength of the join.
Yeah. Although, to be honest, I would rather go for a step top yoke, to be honest, and if you get rid of that...
That was optional, but then he said it would drop his clip-ons too low down.
Yeah. Well, it's here. So, in the next week or so...
When you're 18, that's great.
But when you're old like us, that's not so great, yeah. So the next step for you then is to modify those forks?
The next step is to strip them, or I have to send work out to get the threads CNC cut.
And then I guess he'll take this away and reassemble the bike.
Actually, I mean, he could take it away. There's not a great amount to do.
Yeah.
It requires the forks he requires it as a rolling chassis because there's a chap making a tank. So
oh right, he's getting a
he's having a seat unit and a tank made.
Oh, cool! I look forward to seeing
somewhere in Leeds, I think.
All right, okay, sounds interesting. Hopefully he'll get in touch again and we'll see.
So he'll need his clip-ons on.
Yeah, for the clearance on the tank.
So the chap who's making the tank can
work his way.
Work around it.
Yeah, cool. Well, hopefully he'll send us a picture when it's done.
When it's done.
And we can pop it on the YouTube and all admire it. Okay, so that's one of your little jobs. And as you can see, just changing the wheels and the swing arm and the front end is not as easy as it first appears to folks who've never done it before. On that note, we'll leave it there, and we'll look forward to seeing this Z650 Cafe Racer finish at some point in the future. So William, if you're watching this, send us the photographs when it's finished, or some YouTube videos or whatever.
Make sure that...
Cheers.